I was with my best friend from 19 to 26 years old. That dude was my fucking everything, okay? This is the story that he would tell everybody when they would ask what kind of person I am. We've been together for like 2.5 years at this point, maybe 2 years, and he had gotten signed to Universal Music, an amazing producer, artist, fantastic. And he was living in Vegas, and I showed up at his place in Vegas for the first time since he had moved there. And this man was sleeping on a blow-up mattress. And I was like, there is no way that the man that I love is going to sleep on a blow-up mattress. I had no job at this point. I had just moved to the US, was getting my green card. I couldn't work. With the little money that I did have, I went and I bought him a mattress and put it in the back of my Passat, okay? And then proceeded to carry that mattress up 3 flights of stairs at like 9 o'clock in the morning in the scorching Vegas heat. Walk in there, I'm like panting, sweating, dying, because that's what you do when you love somebody. That's the kind of person that I am in a relationship. I will give 100% of myself and the last bit of energy that I have because I love you.
And I like wholeheartedly believe that about her specifically, but just about women in general, because that is what women do all the time. Like, women are always, and I don't mean this in the literal sense, not literally always, but women are constantly and consistently like trying to, like, when a woman has a bunch of money, or she gets, you know what I'm saying, or not a bunch of money, she has excess money, she thinks about how she can make everybody's life around her easier. When men get money, that we think, how can we make our lives easier? Right? Men are very, very, very selfish. I saw it on full display yesterday. A man and his own child. It was wild to witness it. So yeah, men are extremely selfish, and women are extremely selfless, which creates an unbalanced, like an unbalanced power dynamic in a relationship, because you have a taker and you have a giver, and you have a person that will never not take, and then you have a person that will never not give. So the giver gives up way more than they can, and the taker takes way more than they should, right? That happens constantly in relationships, constantly.
That I have because I love you. That is what a woman does. Yeah, we can talk about how I cooked and cleaned for him and helped him with his business and helped him become a fucking millionaire, and now he lives in a nice penthouse fucking apartment in Vancouver. I don't need to talk about that because I know what kind of woman I am when I show up in a relationship. You want to know I ruined that relationship? We were long.
That's the whole like build a man thing that the men be talking about, like, oh, why don't you just hold me down? The women are women are always holding us down, right? Like, they're holding us down all the time. And there are so many stories like this, and very few stories the other way around. Men rarely build women up, right? And by the way, men rarely build women up, and women who are built up by those men rarely leave those men. Right? Like, when you do hear these stories, when the man actually did build the woman up and he did treat her with respect and he does love on her properly, they be together. They be like, yep, and we've been together ever since 47 consecutive years. You know what I mean? Like, it be that type of vibe. Women will build a man up. A woman will build a man up, and you'll be thinking like, oh, this is going to be such a love story. This is going to be, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be The Notebook or whatever, right? But no, it's not. Come to find out, he cheated on her with every single woman he came in contact with. Some Eric Benet type shit. Like, it's wild.
Does. Yeah, we can talk about how I cooked and cleaned for him and helped him with his business and helped him become a fucking millionaire, and now he lives in a nice penthouse fucking apartment in Vancouver. I don't need to talk about that because I know what kind of woman I am when I show up in a relationship. You want to know I ruined that relationship? We were long distance for a period of time. I went during the pandemic and I was staying with him in Vancouver, and something changed. And you want to know what changed? He started watching podcasts like Fresh and Fit. He started listening to content about MGTOW, and that man changed. And I would sit across from him and not understand the person that I was seeing. I felt like I was waking up to somebody that I did not know.
When people say the internet isn't real, I point them to stuff like this. The internet is very much real, and it affects our material world every single fucking day. Something as powerful as the internet, something that is as powerful as social media, isn't real. It doesn't manifest itself in the real world. Asinine. One of the dumbest statements you can make. Hell, Chat GPT, right? That shit is responsible for like tons of pollution. Chat GPT is responsible for tons of pollution. Tons of pollution. The AI is destroying the planet. So when people say the internet isn't real, it doesn't affect us. Like, no, it does in so many ways. But this is one of them. This is a major way it affects you. It radicalizes people. It radicalizes people who are susceptible. It radicalizes people that are prone to these ideologies and these teachings, right? Ignorant men, weak-minded men, uneducated, undereducated men. Yes, very much, very much. Oh, struggle men who are financially struggling, things of that. Like, I'm not saying this man fits all of those things, but I'm just naming like the types of personalities and the types of circumstances that make it ripe for these types of situations. That's it. And this shit happens all the time. All the time. If it didn't happen all the time, these people wouldn't, these platforms wouldn't be popular.
Somebody that I did not know. I am qualified to talk about this shit. I am qualified to understand the repercussions that red pill content have on men, because the person that I wanted to spend my life with, the person I was in love with, the person I wanted to fucking marry changed overnight because of the content like that. And I see now the men who do watch that content. I hear the things that they say because I would listen to it. I actually started consuming that content because I wanted to understand what happened. To all the men who asked me that question, there's your answer.
I will say that I don't think it was just like the red pill ideology definitely hurt him, but if he was that susceptible to it, if he was that prone to it, there was other things going on as well. Like, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that, you know, she may be, you know, it may just have been so stark, the switch, that it, to her, it's like, it's all on this. And she probably was like making, you know, exceptions and excuses, I guess, for the other things. But he had red flags before that. Like, that's crazy. It's just wild. Yeah, it's just wild to think like he was just like a perfectly, you know, developing human being, man, whatever. And then he went from that to like, yeah, you know, women need to stop putting men in the friend zone type. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was some other shit there, but, you know, whatever. So like, I could imagine, you know, like knowing what I know about red pill ideology and red pill content, I could like imagine like being in a relationship with this person, like, you know, what the other young lady was speaking about, and then they like flip and start talking like this, like what YV is about to talk about. This is the type of stuff that they be saying though. So imagine you're in like a relatively normal relationship, and then the men start saying stuff like, you know, I don't want to get married because women, you know, marriages favor women because they could just leave me and take half of my money. You know what I mean? Like the whole time you guys, you know, you're with this guy, you're like, naturally, you're thinking like, yeah, we're going to get married. You guys probably talked about it at some point. And then all of a sudden he starts saying shit like that. Like that's tough. That's tough.
So the benefit of marriage to a woman is divorce. And before we debunk this one, this is why I always say you have to flip the question and reverse it. And, you know, these red pill men are talking about what's the benefit of a marriage to a man. Just ask them the same question. What's the benefit of a marriage to a woman? They can't tell you.
Their marriage doesn't benefit women, and it never has. It was never created to benefit women. It does, however, offer certain protections for both parties, but women have to give up certain protections in a lot of cases, right? And and women become more exposed in a marriage, you know, when they should be becoming less exposed, right? That's the problem with marriage, is that women become more exposed in marriage and men become less exposed in marriage because it protects us in so many ways. And then the relationship aspect is better. You know what I'm saying? Like for men, because that woman more than likely isn't going to become abusive. You know, if we needed to leave, we can still leave, because it ain't like she's going to physically threaten us, restrain, you know, whatever the women are going to financially abuse us, so on and so forth. So it's easier for us to get out of those situations if need be. But when you flip that around, the women are put more at risk because they are, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not like they could just get up and leave, right? That's why when you look at dating, like people that are just in relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, no marriage involved, the rate of who breaks up with who is relatively the same. Men and women break up with each other relatively the same in a relationship, but not in a marriage. In a marriage, the women file for divorce exponentially more than men because men are afraid of divorce for many reasons. It's not just financial. That's the thing about divorce that when men talk about it that I hate, how they're being so disingenuous, right? Like men, it's not just you're afraid to lose your money. You're afraid to be embarrassed. You're afraid of the community seeing you for who you really are. Because you get to, that woman has given you such a cloak of respectability just by being married and having a child and children and being perceived as a family man, that once that is removed, you know your social standing and social status will drop significantly. And that is a big, big reason why men don't want to get divorced. A huge reason. When men unalive themselves, kill themselves and kill their families, I think that's at the top of the list. It ain't money. It's embarrassment. It's anger. It's jealousy. It's all of these other emotions. But men always go to, oh, I want to lose half my money. That's not what you're afraid of. That's not what you're afraid of.
Another thing that you'll find about, these red pill answers is that none of them are well researched. All of this is like anecdotal and Twitter-based evidence. None of this is real life. I
love Twitter-based evidence. I love that. She ate with that. Twitter-based evidence. I call it meme knowledge. She called it Twitter-based evidence. I like that. That's more descriptive.
Years in men's and women's spaces on the internet trying to get to the bottom of all this stuff. And one thing that I noticed about red pill content is that it is extremely poorly researched and very anecdotal, and like the same things get reposted time and time and time again. They yesterday I was in a live and I brought up like some stats or whatever, and the all the dudes, it was like 2 or 3 dudes that were arguing with me, and I want to say all of them, but if not at least 2 of them said, man, don't nobody care. Literally, man, stats don't mean nothing, man. We gotta go with what we see. We gotta go with what we see. And I was like, well, that's dumb, but okay, let's say we go with what we see. Like, I don't know why they think things will be like better for them, because the reason why they want to go with what they see is it's plausible deniability, because I don't know what they've seen, right? I can guess, I can make it a well-educated guess, right? But all it's going to require them to acknowledge that they've seen certain things for me to expose their hypocrisy, right? So as long as they don't tell me, it's hard. It's hard. Like, you know what I mean? And I do it every day. Trust me. I still, I'm good and I'm cunning enough to make them fall into traps, right? Don't get me wrong. But oftentimes it's damn near like it's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's just really tough. So they want to be able to hide behind that. That idea of like, you don't know me, you don't know what I've seen. And I'm like, okay, that's why they're always beholden to this, like that. Oh, well, that's my friend group. That's your friend group. That's where'd you grow up at? See, I knew it. Like, you could be like they'll be like, where'd you grow up at? I could be like, well, I grew up in Long Beach. They could be, and then come to find out, well, I'm from Long Beach too. Well, what side did you grow up on? I grew up on the West. Well, me too. But what street did you grow up on? Like, that's all they're gonna keep saying, and it's gonna keep getting smart. Like, I'm like, bro, so if what you're telling me is it only is your small group, then what is that? Why are you even speaking on this? Well, why are you even like, what is the relevancy if it's only your 5 friends, if it's only the 30 people you know? That's crazy. It's like consistent representative evidence, whereas women actually have scientific data and numbers to back up the claims that we're making, right? That 100%. That's why I ride, and that's why I told y'all before that I ride with women so much, because everything that women told me, like everything that I heard about men as a collective, I have found a study, a stat, I found evidence to support it.
Nothing that men say about women, I haven't found, and I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic. Nothing that I have found. Well, no, I take that back. Men saying that women cheat just as much as men, I did find some evidence for that, right? But when they say that, they're saying it in the general sense, right? Generally, men cheat more than women, generally, right? But if you look at it based on age, there is an actual age like early 20s where women cheat more than men slightly, right? But they do cheat more than men. But that's not what the men are talking about to me. They're just saying that obviously to lie and I obfuscate. But I will acknowledge that, yes, I definitely found some evidence that would support that women actually do cheat as much as men when they're really young. Like between, I don't know the exact age, but it was in between the age of like 18 and 24. It was really young, like really, really. Well, I would still consider them to be children, but whatever though. I did find some evidence for that. I swear to, but overall, that statement still isn't true. And that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's me being nice and trying to be honest, as honest as I can. I haven't found one stitch of evidence to support anything that men say about women, like as a group. Not one stitch of evidence that women cheat more, that women are just as abusive, that it goes both ways when it comes to violence, that like nothing. Not one fucking thing. Women lie more, women lie as much, nothing. I haven't found one fucking thing. Nothing complete. And honestly, I found the complete opposite of everything that they're saying. Everything.
Whereas women actually have scientific data and numbers to back up the claims that we're making, right? That marriage actually does benefit men. They live longer when they're married, and women don't. Marriage is just not beneficial to women, period. They do up to 2 hours of more housework and much more childcare than men do.
They do up 5 hours a week, actually. Women do 5 hours a week more than men of labor.
That's self-reported by both women and men. So like the men's data is not reported by women. This is what men are saying, how much time they spend doing chores around the house and spending time with their kids. And it's not matching up with women. Women are getting no help, no benefits in marriage. And speaking of poorly researched, this is the one thing that literally couldn't be less true. If you've ever come across the account Life Take Two, the one that the ex-Mormon woman started, the one that got divorced from her husband after she found out that he has not only been cheating on her, he has been trafficking underage girls across.
Shout out to Jenny. Her name is Jenny, Jennie, on TikTok. She's been on my panel many a times. I talk to her often, on and offline. I love her content. I think it is very important. But yeah, her story is devastating. If you guys haven't heard it, you definitely should go check out Life Take Two on YouTube and Jenny on TikTok, JENNIE, if you want to hear her story. I mean, brutal. Just that man, oh my God, her, and he's still brutal. He's still terrible. She's not out of it. You know what I mean? Her life is better, but he still is negatively impacting her life as we speak today. Crazy work.
State lines with his buddies. Meanwhile, being like a high ranking member at their church and like presenting as this really good man and all this stuff. Like she trusted him so much that she helped him start businesses. And because of their religion, because of their faith, she was forced to actually put even her businesses that she started, that she worked hard on, in his name. So at the end of the day, the only one that got skinned dry in that divorce was her. And I cannot even explain to you how bad it was. She, first of all, in her video says that only 40% of child support and alimony is ever paid out. Only 40%. So the chances of men getting like skin dry in a divorce are simply not high.
Real quick, only 10% of people pay alimony. 8%, and 8% of those people are men. So 8% of men pay out, are ordered to pay alimony, right? Only 40% of that gets paid out of the 8%. So if you do the real math, only like 5 dudes, only 5% of dudes are paying alimony in the country. And they be up and talking, oh, I want to have to pay. Like, bro, shut up.
Enough for women for that to be considered a benefit. So there's a 40% chance that you might get a small minuscule amount paid out to you monthly if you get a divorce and that's a reason to get married for women, that's insane. That's delusional. She also said that since they didn't own like technically any property together, he kicked her out of their condo that they were renting. The day she found out about everything he was doing, he went to the bank, she said, and he pulled out all the money in their joint account, and she has not recouped that money since. She said that her crappy divorce attorney cost her more money than she received back in child support payments over the next 3 years.
Also, he took all the money, and so that he wouldn't have to pay alimony and wouldn't have to pay child support, he officially resigned from his job, from his position, because he was like the CEO or something like that of the company that she paid to start, and she helped him build it. Then she went into homemaking to take care of the kids. Her money, he didn't have the money to do it. Her money, her mind, she built the foundation. He took it over, became the CEO of the company, right? And then after he got caught cheating and trafficking small young girls across state lines, he quit. He resigned from his position, but he's still getting paid from the company somehow, some way, I'm sure. But he just resigned from his official position because he owned the company. So now he could just say like, "Oh yeah, I'm the whatever of the company," or nothing, right? Like, but then they're giving, he has like stocks, or you know what I mean, or whatever the fuck in the company, and he's still getting paid out from the company.
Getting skin dry. She had to live in her car with her children. Her children had to have Tupperware boxes full of their stuff and their homework and everything, and they had to couch surf while she slept in her car. Her and her children were homeless. Not only that, but he quit his job and pulled his mother out of her retirement home so that he could say he has another dependent, so that he doesn't have to pay child support, and so that he could say he doesn't have a job, so that he didn't have to pay child support.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
And by the time he started paying child support, he is getting charged so little that it barely covers the gas money that she uses to drive her children to see him. If that's not getting skinned alive and dry in a fucking divorce, then I do not know what is. And I've never heard of this happening to a man ever. The other thing with the whole being skinned alive for like child support and stuff, you do realize that child support is inversely and directly correlated to how much time you spend with your children. So if you're complaining that your child support is really high, think about the fact that you don't spend time with them. That's why.
That I saw a TikTok the other day where this woman was talking about she was in court. I think I might have shared it with y'all. But anyway, she was at court for some reason. She was in family court, I guess. She's a reporter. And she said that she saw a dude in there, and she overheard a conversation with this dude. He was talking to his, to his lawyer or whatever. And he told his lawyer something to the effect of like he wanted to get his child support reduced. And the lawyer was like, "Oh, yeah, no problem. We just got, let's get you more time with the kids." And then he was like, "Nah, and then the lawyer was like, "Oh, no, it's no biggie. We'll just, what I'm saying? Like, we can do that. We can get it reduced or whatever, what I'm saying? So how much time do you want to spend with the kids?" He kept pressing the dude, and the dude eventually said, "Nah, never mind. I don't want them kids." Like, exactly what YV is saying right here. Exactly.
It's high because somebody else is like taking on the responsibility of raising your children. So if you want a low amount of child support, simply take care of your children. That's all. That's what women have to do. You never hear about women complaining about all this child support that they have to pay to their child's father. That's because the fathers don't typically take on the bulk of the child care. And then they complain about the minuscule amount of child support that they have to pay, which they would be spending a lot more money if they were actually raising their children, and they know that. So yeah, no, even if what you were saying was true, it still wouldn't be a good enough reason for women to get married. Next.
Beautiful. Beautiful breakdown. And that's why the red pill ideology is so dangerous and so destructive for a relationship, because if a man is, especially if you're already in the relationship with the man, right? Imagine, like, as I'm saying, like, as a man, like, imagine like the person you're with does a complete 180, or if it ain't a 180, they do a 130, right? Because they were definitely in, like I said before, of course they were susceptible to it. So obviously they had, some tendencies, right? But imagine a person doing a complete, a 130, a 120, a 140. Like, that's a complete change of course, man. And that's that shit I be talking about. How, like, again, because I don't want to contradict myself. Yes, there are probably red flags there. There were probably concerns. But that doesn't mean that like since most men are indoctrinated into the cult of man, before men start to judge women and be on that like, well, you should have chose better, you guys have to understand what the implications of that is. If women ran at every red flag that men had of being like misogynistic, none of us would get dates. Or if we got a date, we wouldn't get a second one. If we got a second one, we wouldn't get a third one or a fourth one. And if we got into a relationship, it would end fairly quickly. And if we got, you know, it would only be a matter of time. If you can mask for a month, 3 months, a year, whatever, eventually it is going to come out. That red flag is going to show. And if your solution or your suggestion to women is you should leave at that red flag, then none of us would have girlfriends. None of us would have access to any woman, right? And that's probably better. Don't get me wrong for the women. But I'm saying to the men, that's not the solution. That's all I'm saying is like, that's not the solution. To me, that's the immediate quick fix to keep women safe. But that's not the solution. The solution is for men to change our behaviors. The quick fix is for women to avoid men, right? So in the immediate, yes, absolutely. I don't give a fuck. Women, leave men alone. That's why you always hear me tell, like, I don't argue with women about that. I'm not here to convince women to do any, like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel sure. I just don't. I cannot, in my right mind, try to do anything to convince women to be in relationships with men. Can't do it. I can't do it. Not enough men are doing the work. So until enough men are doing the work, which would be the vast majority of men, it wouldn't even be like 30% of men. If 80%, if 80% of men started to do the work, then okay, I would feel comfortable being like, hey, ladies, it's safe to come outside. You know, but not right now, though. Not right now. Men are not invested whatsoever in doing the work.